Okay, so someone asked me to clarify my opinion on grief, and that is that grief is very often a cover story for guilt. And people are wondering, what the hell do you mean by that? How do you get to that? All right, well, we're going to do that one in this video. If you know me, if you've been following me for a while, you'll know that I've talked about grief a lot. Grief was one of my favorite subjects that I learned from Dr. John DeMartini, where I got that right there. It was a great concept and a great thing, a tool that I learned that I've used a lot in my coaching practice, and I've used a lot on myself also. But I will share that certain griefs that I've had in my life, I did the processes on very deeply, and I didn't quite get all the way there. So I realized that something else needed to happen for me. That's not everybody. Some people clear it right away, but for me, I needed something else. And it got me to think. I started to read a lot of different books on the concepts of grief and the concepts of loss and stuff like that. And they were good, but what I noticed that there was a consistent theme, which was you have to work on the pain. And that's one of the common things I find in the personal development world, is that there's almost like this prerequisite, and it's really it's almost the only reason you go into the personal development stuff is because you're having pain, you're suffering in some way, or you're not getting what you want out of your life, which basically means you're in pain. So basically this whole thing is to try and solve pain. But I wanted to go one step further and ask myself, why am I in so much pain? Because if I'm doing all this stuff to try and get out of pain, that's almost like just putting bandages on something. I wanted to understand what's going on here that's causing this so much. And I found the answers in a really weird spot. Last year, back around November, December, I started reading from that book right there. It's called The Book of Wealth. And I started reading this book just every day. And what I've realized is that that book is really talking all about this concept of fair exchange. It's this concept of equality, of making sure that you know that you've received and given equally, and you deserve what you got, and they deserve what they gave, and vice versa. And what I'm noticing is that if I kind of take that back down to a guitarist language, just like you have the input jack and the output jack of your effects pedal or something like that, and you kind of tweak here and there and you get a little different effects. Now let's go back to grief, and I'm just going to explain an idea that has radically shifted my life and has radically shifted my emotions and how I feel in my life and how I feel about these past relationships. I love these past relationships now. I love the breakups in these relationships now. I'm actually I would go through them again because they're so inspiring at this point, because I understand now what they were trying to teach me. Now, lots of people will say that, grief is like a reminder of how much you loved this person, and that's one interesting way to kind of cover up your pain. But what I've realized is that there's kind of two forms to grief. There's pretty much two components. I'm going to share them right now. One is this. You lose somebody and you want more of what they gave you. And what does that kind of mean? That means I'm kind of being selfish and I want more of what they gave me, and maybe this person's dead, but I'm still being selfish about it. And what does that tell you about how much you actually appreciated what they already gave you? Think about that for a second. Because in my experience now, and the way that I've designed my new process that I'm using, that I have a private mentorship group for, so I'm just going to throw that out there for people who are interested. There's more on that at the end of the video if you want. But what I've noticed is that people who want more usually want more of what they haven't appreciated. And it's really interesting, because why would you want more if you already appreciated it? Because if you already had appreciated it, getting more is a bonus, and you're actually independent that way, and you're free to appreciate. So what I find is that the first key of grief, and the first key to transforming loss, is to understand that piece, which is you're looking for that which you didn't actually appreciate in the beginning, which means the search for that to get more of what you already had is actually an avoidance strategy. It's a cover story for the guilt that you feel towards not actually appreciating it. Just feel that out for a second for yourself. I know probably some of you, if you're watching this video, probably have some level of grief at least going on in your life. And I just want you to feel that out for a second and ask yourself, is that true? Am I actually angry and judging myself for not appreciating this person enough? And I'm using I want more and I miss them and I want more as an avoidance strategy for that? Just feel that out. If you're like me, I bet you're going to feel that that's probably true. And if it's not that one, it's going to be this one, the second piece to guilt, or to grief right now. I didn't give them enough. And now that they're gone, I don't have the opportunity to do it. And now I feel so sad that I can't do that. I can't give back to what they gave to me. And if you got both of them, it's even worse, which is, oh my God, I now realize I didn't appreciate them, and I'm trying to avoid it. And I also realized that I didn't give back because I didn't appreciate them. And oh my God, now I'm in grief, trying to avoid my guilt. This was such a breakthrough for me. It changed everything for me in relation to this topic in my life. And I went back, and even though I'd done years of personal work on these griefs in my life and got myself this pretty good space, there was still stuff there. And I went back and I did this new tool that I've developed that's literally just 4 questions you just run all the way through. And it gets you to realize that fair exchange was there, that whatever you got, you gave, and whatever you gave, you got. And it's just a liberating piece. It changed everything for me. I did this on all my girlfriends, and it's the one thing that helped me clear it. And I've been using this with clients who have had griefs. I had one client who I worked with 8 years ago. I used everything on this person to try and clear something that she was holding on to for like 20 years. And it was amazing because I got on the phone with her literally 8 years later back in January, and I said, hey, I've got a new tool here. I want to try it out on you. And she said, hey, go ahead, because this is running me for 20 years at this point, 25 years. And I ran her through it, and it took me half an hour, and I got it. And that was so powerful for me, because I worked with her for like 6 months, 8 years ago, just trying everything. And I got her somewhere. You know what? I got her somewhere, but I finally got her on this piece. And I had another client call me. I got her on the phone. Within 15 minutes, I had it. And it's really all about guilt. It's the guilt that I didn't appreciate what I got, and I'm maybe even running this fantasy that they didn't give me enough, and now that they're gone, I'm never going to get rewarded in that way, which is such a delusion. Or the other side, which is I didn't give them enough. So it's this given and giving. It's this receiving and giving. It's this input and output of energy. And if these things are not equal and fair in your mind, you will run grief forever. It doesn't matter what you do on trying to manage the pain about it and the sorrow and all this other stuff. You will always run this feeling of inequality, and you'll always feel like you're either been robbed or you're a robber. It's one of these two things, and it's going to run you, and it's going to cover this feeling of guilt, which is I didn't appreciate what I got, and I didn't give enough back, and now I feel like a son of a bitch. And I might as well feel grief about it, because because grief actually feels better than that. And when I noticed that and I did the process on myself, it changed everything for me, and that's what I'm talking about. So I just want to explain that piece, and if that resonates with you, you know what, maybe you want to work on this one. So hey, you know what, send me a private message if that's interesting for you. And if you want to go further, there's a little tag on the end of this video tell you about my group that I got going on that you can join up. I'm starting up August 1st. I know I just dated this video, but that's cool. Please consider joining that, because I'm going to teach you the tool and you're going to use it in your life. And like I said, I've been doing personal development for 10 plus years now. And this new thing that I have has just radically shifted everything for me. Radical appreciation is beyond personal development. Thanks so much for watching this one. I will see you next time. Do you want to learn some more and make your life simpler so that you can feel better about things and actually accomplish what you want to do? If so, I have a monthly Facebook group that I run every month. And if you're interested in joining that, click the link below or just search up Mission Inspired on Facebook. You'll find a group in there and request to join the group, and I'll message you. We'll go over the details and we'll get you in. Now I gotta warn you, there's a small investment involved just to get in and take the training modules, and then there's an ongoing fee if you want to continue in the program and keep in the Q&A and keep in the community and get more help ongoing. But if you're interested in that, click to join the group and I will connect with you.